the United States has been on such a decline. Uh, at least it's not what's going on in France. I'm very grateful to live in Hawaii, and I'm grateful to have a community of supporters. Shout out to Aubrey, shout out to Barbara, shout out to Goofy Kitty, and like that. 4th of July being tomorrow, I can tell you one story about the 4th of July. I remember it was Saturday, the 4th of July, 2001, and I was working at a telemarketing job, and I was a top salesman of the telemarketing job. And normally we would work on Saturdays 8 to 12. And since this was the 4th of July, a lot of people did not want to come into work that day. And so, as an incentive, the boss had like a few gift raffles. And so, every time you made a sale, you would get a raffle ticket. You'd go up, you ring the bell, you go up, you put a tally on the board, and you'd get a raffle ticket. And then I did raffles for like $100 and for $50. And so I'm working next to my friend John Hershey, and I was like the top salesman in the office. And he had just came in like a month or two, but he kind of looked up to me. He was a few years younger than me. I was about like 21 years old, I guess. And my apartment was just a block or two away from the Metro office. I talk more about this in my book, Concept Education, but I don't talk about this particular day. And so we're selling newspaper subscriptions, and I end up getting more that day than anybody else in the 4 hours, because you mark on the board how many you have, and so it was obvious that I had sold the most. And I told my friend John Hersey, I'm like, hey, we can make sure that we win the $100 raffle and the $50 raffle if we'll just put our sales together, and you just put my name on each one, since I'm going to have the most tickets. And then if I have your tickets too, I'm basically like guaranteed to win. And the secretary that was pulling the raffle tickets, she was like a nice woman with glasses and had a wife and a young child. I was really friendly with her. And at the time I was 20 years old, and there was half the people that worked there were females. And so a lot of the women liked me in the office, but I was like just friendly with this secretary, and would just like take time to talk to her and ask her how her day was and this and that. And so she thought that was nice. And so she was on my side, the person pulling the things. And then I also made a little rip in the middle of, the classic tickets that you get at places like that. And then I'd make a little rip in it. And so when you grab it, it would like catch your hand or whatever. And she knew that I did that as well. So when it came time for the raffle, they pulled out the $50 one, and then I won that, and I was like, yes, but I really wanted the $100 one. And then they pulled out the $100 one, and I was just like, yes. And then I was really laid back at that time. I was just 20 years old, and there was a lot of attention there. Like all the women, like really, like were head over heels with me. I had so many dates from that office. I should have had way more intercourse than I actually did, but it was a blessing having so many women interested while in those 2 years that I worked there. Lucky's jealous now. I'm the only woman. But so they pulled out the $100 one. Then I won that one, uh, and so I got in my '72 Chevy, and I only lived a few blocks away. And I was gonna pay John, my friend John Hershey, because we agreed that I'd give him half if I won, but I would have won it anyways, right? And then but I kind of hurry up and go back to my apartment without talking to him, and I signed for the $100 to get my paycheck that day too. And I go back to my apartment, and my apartment was kind of like a party house. I sold weed at the time. And then so like 20 minutes later, John shows up, and he's like, oh, Greg, that was an awesome 4th of July. I wasn't even going to come into work, but you made it really fun, and we have won $150. You can keep the money. Fucking A! He's like, you can keep the money, and I'm just glad you made it a fun day. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. I just wanted, and he's like, I just wanted to buy a half ounce for $35. And I was like, oh, it's on the house, dude. And then he's like, uh, I'm like, it's on the house, dude. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. So I gave him the free bag of weed, which wasn't very much for me. And then my cat Lucky just knocked over coffee everywhere. But then they gave me I gave him the free thing of weed, and it was a good Fourth of July overall. And then we hung out there that night and like probably took some psychedelics or something. But overall, it was a really good night, and I'll tell more about Fourth of July tomorrow. I gotta clean up this now, so the podcast is ending a little bit early. But reminder, the Mr. G podcast, it's available, new episodes daily, wherever you listen to podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Audacity Podcast, Spotify Podcasts. You can listen to the Mr. G podcast on your way to work, while you're at work, while you're at home, while you're cleaning your home, while you're on the train, while you're on the bus, while you're in a cab. They ain't gonna keep me out of this podcast game, guys. It's something I'm good at. It's something I'm gonna be doing. So look for the Mr. G Hawaii podcast. Gregory Brandt. Might take you a little while to search for it, and if you can't find it, full episodes of the Mr. G podcast are uploaded in their entirety onto Twitter and YouTube daily. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great day. Aloha. Lucky, you ruined everything. Just kidding. I love you, Lucky.
Recording stopped.
God damn, I've never seen so much coffee on the ground. Look at this. Lucky is just the most jealous cat in the world. She's like, who are you talking to? She literally just knocked over the coffee, all that coffee. It's all over these shorts and my everything. No way. It's never going back to Texas. It's like 100 degrees there. So I probably won't ever even visit. So aloha. I gotta clean this up. This coffee all over the phone. Thanks for watching.